I'm Dana K. White of aslobcomesclean.com, and I'm the author of Decluttering at the Speed of Life. Okay, I talk about procrasticlutter a lot. It's a word that I made up. It is a word that is very real, but I think it deserves its own video. Because a casual mention here or there, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I get what you mean. But y'all, it's a real thing, and it's an extra real thing for those of us who have big time struggles with clutter. Okay, so my definition for procrasticlutter, which I get to make up the definition because I made up the word, is the stuff that feels like it's not really clutter because it doesn't feel like it deserves my decluttering energy. Okay? When I set about to declutter, when I set about to do big things in my home, big changes, I'm generally in this zone, in this mode where I'm like, I'm gonna really make a huge impact. And so I just kind of ignore this stuff that I'm like, I can do that later. A lot of times it's the stuff that is gonna have to be done at some point anyway. And so it feels like I don't wanna waste my time right now worrying about that stuff. So I procrastinate on it. But it's also the stuff that if I don't deal with it and work hard on my house doing all kinds of really cool things or big decluttering projects, I'm gonna look around and think, my house just doesn't really look as good as I thought it was gonna look as I was doing all that really hard work. Like it just still looks messy or cluttery or whatever. It's the procrasticlutter. That's what it is. It is often that stuff that I didn't feel was worthy of my time and my energy when I was decluttering that causes a problem. So I'm sitting here on my stairs, my new stairs. I'm super excited about my new stairs. But oh my word, these stairs have been a big deal in my house. So a year ago, actually from the time that we moved in, this is what they looked like. And they looked like that until just pretty recently, as of the time when I am filming this video. So well over a year, they looked like that. Why? Well, we took the carpet off before we moved in because I was like, I don't want carpet on stairs. I want to have pretty stairs. Well, I didn't know. This is not a DIY channel. Y'all know that, right? I did not know what a big deal it is to go from carpeted stairs to pretty wooden stairs. Like, it's just not this, oh, you just paint them and sand them down and they look great. No, it's like basically a rebuilding process. Anyway, it was very overwhelming to me. And yet it was the first thing that people saw when they walked in my house. And it was like, I got to deal with my stairs. And so I would come up with all these, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if I did this? Spoiler alert, I ended up hiring someone to do it for me because I couldn't figure it out. I always was thinking big, huge, daunting project in my house. Even though I wasn't actually getting the project done because it was overwhelming to me, I was ignoring procrasticlutter because I would think, well, that stuff, I'm gonna have to deal with that anyway. I need to really put my time and my effort and my oomph into the stairs and figuring out the stairs. Well, because I know better, in the midst of that overwhelm, I told myself, Dana, just deal with the procrasticlutter. Deal with procrasticlutter, because if I will deal with procrasticlutter, my house looks a whole lot better. My stairs still didn't look great. They still looked pretty scary, but my house overall looks and feels and functions better because I've gone ahead and dealt with the procrasticlutter. And here's the good news about procrasticlutter. It's easy. It is by definition stuff that I already know exactly what to do with it. It's not something that's daunting. It's something that just needs to be dealt with. And when I went ahead and made myself deal with the procrasticlutter, my house felt better and I could keep going. And the reality is this was a huge daunting project. And if I had ignored all of the little things, all those little procrasticlutter things, and said, I'll deal with that after I figured out my stairs, well, guess what? It took me a really long time to figure out my stairs and then to hire somebody to come and get it done for me. And I would have let that procrasticlutter just pile up and pile up and pile up until it ended up in a big, scary clutter situation which I know this from experience because that's how I got into this mess where I started talking about and writing about this stuff that I now write books about, right? Like, I know from experience what can happen when I ignore Procrasticlutter. So it is incredibly valuable and incredibly important that I deal with Procrasticlutter. So what are some examples of Procrasticlutter? Well, I'm sorry to tell you, the most obvious one, unfortunately, is clean laundry on the living room furniture. I know. There's all the reasons in the world why that does not deserve my time. I should be worried about other stuff. And yet, I can do so much in my house. My dog is snoring. Do you hear it? I can do so much in my house. I can get my stairs fixed. I can pay a lot of money to get my stairs fixed. And yet, if my living room furniture is covered in clean laundry, even though it's clean laundry, my house feels disastrous and messy. And so I have to deal with that, or there is no hope of my house actually feeling and functioning under control. So that's Procrasticlutter. Procrasticlutter may be, oh, my kitchen, I've worked so hard in it. Why does it still look messy? I've been working in here. Well, it's because there's a big pile of dishes in the dish drainer waiting to be put away. Once those are put away, it's like, okay, now the kitchen actually looks the way that I was picturing it was gonna look as I was doing all of this work, right? But here's some other examples. One big one for me is, I get every month, I'll get some orders from Amazon in my subscribe and save. Like I'll get laundry detergent. I mean, not every single month, but it, varies or staggers on the different months, or, dishwashing liquid, that kind of stuff. And those things, sometimes I'm not completely and totally out of my laundry detergent that it's replacing and that it's coming, to replenish. So in my mind, I'm like, I can do that later. I'll have to deal with that later. I'll get into that box when I need it. But if I let myself do that, then spaces in my home, my front door, my room, my dog's room, off to the side of that, end up piled with stuff. And then all that stuff is in this big pile of boxes that's a huge hassle for me to actually get to it. And I don't know which box it was and so it just ends up causing a whole lot more problems than it's worth. Some examples for the sake of this video are, I said, okay, the reason I thought about doing this video is I was like, I need to talk about Procrasticlutter because I've got it. And I was finding myself resisting dealing with my Amazon orders that had come in. And I said, no, Dana. And I said, no, I have to do this. I know this is Procrasticlutter. It's gonna be easy. It's not gonna take me that long. And it's gonna make a huge impact if I will go ahead and deal with it now and not put it off until later, okay? So, for example, dog food. Dog food is heavy. That's one of the reasons I have it delivered, because I really don't like hauling it home from the store. But because it's heavy, I'm like, oh, I just don't want to take it. You know how long it took me to get it out of the box and in there and actually poured into the dog food container while holding my phone to record it, right? You don't even have to do that. It took me 2 minutes. It took me 2 minutes to do that, which is not long, y'all. It was well worth my 2 minutes for that box to be emptied, done, over, okay? And then as I was going through those boxes, I found my solar eclipse glasses that I had ordered in the moment where I realized, oh, Texas is in the path of the solar eclipse that's coming up. And I had ordered them ahead of time because I heard, well, they might run out. And I thought, oh, I'm gonna have those. Well, if I had just left that in there as Procrasticlutter, if I had left those boxes to pile up and pile up, you know what I would not have been able to find in April of next year? I think it's April. The solar eclipse glasses. I would have gotten so frustrated that those glasses that I knew I had ordered, I wouldn't know where they were. So I took them out of the box. I asked myself where I would look for these first, and I went and I took them to the place where I would look first for those glasses. And then you know what's gonna happen in April? I'm gonna go, oh, that's right, I ordered some glasses. Oh, I know exactly where they are. Or, I wonder if I put them in the place where I would look for them first, and then I go look for them and they're actually there. And that's how all this works, right? Another thing that I dealt with that I didn't want to deal with was our beloved ice maker. We finally had to give up on it, y'all. I don't have any kind of advice on this other than ours started making such incredibly loud noises, even though we tried and tried and tried to clean it, did all the things that we were supposed to do to clean it, and it was so stinking loud we couldn't even have a conversation. So we finally decided, even though it was crazy expensive and I loved that thing, we were gonna get rid of it, and I got another one. Well, I hadn't dealt with it. Well, I didn't want to deal with it because it was heavy, right? And I wanted to wait until my husband got home. And I was like, I'm gonna wait until he's home and he can pick it up for me. And then I realized, you know what, if I will go ahead and do this now, I'm gonna have ice. And I'm not gonna have this box sitting in front of this desk that otherwise, looks pretty in my newly painted room. But I needed to get that done. I dealt with it. I went ahead, y'all, it did not take long. You know how long it took me? From the time I took my before picture of the ice maker, let's see, that was at 1:21 p.m. And by the time I was getting the new ice maker out, oh my word, y'all, it was 1:27 p.m. 6 minutes to deal with the thing that I had not wanted to deal with, draining it, moving it out of the way, and going and getting the new one. I had the new one started to be set up at 1:35. So in 14 minutes, I had dealt with this thing. So the box was gone. The old ice maker was drained and ready to be put out. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. But anyway, we may tear it apart and just see what, maybe if we can figure out what the problem was now that we've already replaced it. But, and the other thing too is that my new ice maker has a big thing on it that says it has to sit upright for 2 hours before you actually do anything with it. Well, now I get to start that 2 hours because I went ahead and I did it and I didn't let it remain as Procrasticlutter. So I'm gonna smile because I feel like I'm getting really intense. I'm just saying that Procrasticlutter is real. It's an absolute real thing. And don't let the big dramatic stuff that may take time anyway keep you from doing the little things that don't feel important, but if they're not done, they make the house stay out of control and not feel like you're making any progress. So identify your Procrasticlutter and deal with it and time it and see, wow, that actually didn't take me as long as I thought. But even if it takes you longer than you thought, it's still gonna be done and you won't be procrastinating anymore and your house will look better. Okay, all right, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.